Microsoft Whiteboard is a cloud-based digital whiteboard application which enables collaborative working. All Whiteboard users can share the same virtual canvas at the same time, whether they're in the same room or remote, whether they're accessing on a smartphone, tablet, laptop or even desktop computer. The Whiteboard supports input from touchscreen pens, touch or keyboard and isn't reliant upon a single type of display equipment. To access Microsoft Whiteboard, first sign into your Plymouth account. From your account, you can click on the waffle icon and navigate down to Whiteboard. You can navigate to Microsoft365.com. If you go to the applications and scroll down, you can click on Microsoft Whiteboard there. Alternatively, in the browser URL, you can type in whiteboard.office.com and that will take you to new whiteboards and also any whiteboards that have already been shared with you. To start a new whiteboard, click on the new whiteboard. This will instantly open up templates. We'll talk about these later. However, if we start with a blank canvas, in the left hand side we can rename the title of our whiteboard. For this case we'll just call it Whiteboard Test. Any changes that are made with this whiteboard will automatically be saved. On the far right hand side is a cog. Clicking on that cog will give us a lot of options, including formatting the background. Here we can change the colour of the background that may help with accessibility. We can also look at changing the grid format that will have kind of different purposes. Once we've decided on what we want as our background, we can then have a look and we can select collaborative cursors, which will allow us to understand which students have been inputting onto the whiteboard, enhanced ink shapes, which we'll talk about later, and who's been authoring the whiteboard. In the main whiteboard, there's a toolbar. In this toolbar, there's select, inking options, notes, reactions, comments, text, shapes, and more options. By clicking on the inking options, we can end up selecting the pen, the colour, and the nib size. If we want to add arrows, we can click on these items here, which will add arrows to it. But we can now start to draw different shapes or write on our whiteboard. There's a highlighter where we can click, and by clicking it twice will bring up the different colours that we can choose and also the size of the nib, or we can highlight different parts of the whiteboard. There's a laser pointer tool which gives us the opportunity to highlight particular areas, which is fantastic with collaborative learning, and then it won't be lasting and will disappear after a short time. There's a ruler icon so that we can end up looking and measuring, and also a lasso tool if we wanted to select a particular area. By clicking on the notes, we'll open up a variety of sticky notes. Clicking on the different colours that you want and then clicking on the main whiteboard will create an open sticky note. Type into the note and then by clicking off, it will show the author of that note and it gives you the opportunity to move it around. By clicking on the main body, you can also resize the note. It also gives you options where you can edit, you can look at formatting the text, changing the colour, deleting, or adding a comment on it. Also within the note section, there's a grid of sticky notes. By clicking on the grid, you can now click and it will create a grid format which will give you a title for the grid, and then you can edit the individual notes. This grid can either be moved as a whole or the individual notes could be moved. Next to the notes is reactions. By clicking this, will give you different reactions. Learners can select different reactions and click on the whiteboard where they want to show whether they agree with something or disagree, things that they like and what they dislike. The next item in the toolbar is comments. A learner can click on the comment and click anywhere on the whiteboard where they want to add a comment. And they can save it. and this will display the user's initials or profile picture within that comment. In the toolbar, it has an Add Text button. Here, you can add text, you can also highlight the text and change the colour. In the toolbar, there's to add shapes. By clicking on this, we'll give a variety of different shapes and lines, which you can end up drawing directly into your whiteboard. You can also add text into these shapes. You can change the colour. Earlier, in the cog, we showed that there was an enhanced ink shapes. If we click and turn this on, when drawing freehand, it will start to match the shape that we're drawing. So if we're creating a square, a triangle, or even a circle, it will create them as the designed objects. On the More Options 3 dots, it will give us an opportunity to add templates. Images, we can either upload an image or we can search Bing. And insert. We can drag, make smaller, larger, relocate. We can also click and add documents, and this can be from our OneDrive. If we're inserting a PowerPoint, it allows us to choose which slides we want to import. And imports them into our whiteboard. We're able to import videos. This can be through YouTube, Vimeo, TED, or SlideShare. And we can also add links. Within the whiteboard, there's the opportunity within the cog to export, and this we can export it as an image or as a zip file, with the image choosing whether we want it as standard or high resolution, and we're able to export. That will download the image so that you can end up looking at it in any viewer. By clicking on the share icon, allows you to share the whiteboard for collaborative working. Here you can add the email addresses or names of the people who you want to collaborate and a message, and you can send the link. By clicking on the cog, you can also look at choosing people within the university by selecting that, and also whether you want them just to edit or just to view. By applying, you can then copy the link, and with that link being copied, you can end up sharing it either on your DLE or through an email to your students. When sharing a whiteboard, people who have joined the whiteboard, their information will appear in the top right hand corner. You will now be able to see in real time when a student or person who's joined the whiteboard is able to draw, add their reactions, put comments, and so information will now be saved on that main whiteboard. You can clear the canvas by right-hand clicking and clear canvas, and that will delete the whole whiteboard. As I previously mentioned about templates, they're available in the More Options and Templates, but if we end up going and starting a new whiteboard, we can do this by clicking on the Home icon and then adding a new whiteboard. There are a series of templates that we could use. These include things like SWOT analysis, lesson plans and reflections, and also Kanban boards. Using a template like this, we can insert into a whiteboard, and we can end up adding sticky notes with things that are in process into the backlog and also what are completed. So by clicking on the area, we can drag and drop and move things around. That's a basic overview of Microsoft Whiteboard and the functionality that it has.